Good morning to everyone around the Commonwealth, everybody around the world. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to discuss all this, the enabling environment so that we can move ahead with our digital transformation. Madam SG of the CTO, Ms. Bernadette Lewis, I bring greetings from Samoa. All the staff of the CTO, hello. It's great to be standing in front of you and presenting on this digital transformation webinar. Well done, and thank you very much. I also want to say greetings to all the Commonwealth countries or people from the Commonwealth who are joining this webinar. And I'd like to say hello and tarufalava to all my staff who are joining in online from the office. Fuatai telelava. All right, so the digital transformation is very important because this is where everyone has to be included. What I'm talking about is without a meaningful digital transformation, then our people living in remote and rural villages will not be able to join in and use digital technologies to order whatever they want and to make payments. In simple words, and a very simple example of the outcome of the digital transformation is that business people who are doing businesses in remote and rural areas will no longer have to travel all the way to town, all the way to Apia, so that they can pay their taxes or make payments for all the other issues. They'll be able to just use their mobile phone, then they will pay their taxes and pay for their purchases from the comfort of their homes or of their whales. Now, a good example is I'm from the island of Hawaii, on the other island. So if a business person lives in Hawaii, they will save money in traveling from, for example, my village is a most remote village, traveling from Falealupo to Salelolonga Wharf, catch the boat from there, which is an hour to Upolu, and then drive to the, for example, the Ministry of Inland Revenue, so they can pay their taxes. When we have the digital transformation, when we implement the digital transformation strategy, then instead of that long winding trip I was referring to, they will be able to pay their taxes or pay their purchases still sitting at the comfort of their home or even on the beach. So this is the beauty about what we are moving on to now as a country, to look and to develop the digital transformation strategy. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so that's the order of the presentation, but be very mindful that I might be skipping from one topic to the other so that we can connect the dots. Thank you very much. All right, so this is the introduction. Now, right now, the whole world is still experiencing a lot of divides. So there's a digital divide, there's a gender divide, there is economic divides, there's so many divides. And in Samoa, we are experiencing the digital divide. Gender, yes, but it's very close. I believe that gender is like women is around 48%, and compared to the 52% of men now using the digital technologies or using the mobile phones and having access to some of the online activities that they are able to do. And the whole purpose, if I can put it into 4 words, of the enabling this environment to make sure that we can move ahead and we can enjoy the benefits of the digital transformation is leaving no one behind. So we want everyone to have access into the digital technologies. And Samoa is not, it's not, how should I say it? It's not unique in this issue, because a lot of countries around the world, even the developed countries, they still have digital divides, gender divides. But Samoa is a very small country, small island developing state. We have a population of around 200,000. And I personally believe that, yes, because our country is small, we can work together and we can move this forward quickly. And the previous presentation by Fionga Leota, that is very relevant to the digital transformation, which is the ID. And if I can understand it correctly, so when the baby is born, then that baby is registered in the database. And then everything else that happens, the medicals, all those, the treatments that the baby may be having, is all recorded. And not until the baby or the child becomes 18 years old that he will be issued with the ID, digital ID. Am I correct? Okay, so this is very, very important because it's the promise of the digital transformation to provide a range of services that are relevant to the development of our country. And therefore, the digital ID is very key to this whole process. According to the ITU, digital transformation gives every country, developing country, be it a least developed country, a small island developing states like Samoa, or the landlocked developing countries, give them the promise of the digital transformation so that they could grow up, they could develop the country and integrate more communities, and then at the end, giving that benefit and those opportunities to all the communities within the country. We have the Strategic Development Goals, or the SDGs, which we have to achieve by 2030. And that's not it's not too far away. So this is why it's very important that every country, including Samoa, will have to move quickly and achieve all the components and all the activities of our digital transformation pathway or strategies. All right, next one, please. Okay, so the legal framework. I'm very proud to say that Samoa was the first country in the Pacific Islands that achieved its legal framework. So 2005, Samoa adopted its first national ICT policy. And that was followed by the Telecommunications Act of 2005. Then 2006, the Office of the Regulator was established. So Samoa led the Pacific. All the other Pacific Island countries, Fiji, Solomon Islands, followed after we liberalized the market. And remember, all this, the legal framework, 2005 to 2006, the purpose was to liberalize the mobile market. And this is where Digicel came to the Pacific for the very first time. 2006 in November, Digicel was launched. Digicel launched its services in Samoa. And then the same year, the regulator was established because at that time, liberalization did not refer only to the service provider side. It also referred to reforming telecommunication within Samoa. So the reason why the Office of the Regulator was established is to make sure that you don't, the ministry doesn't become a provider and a regulator at the same time. And this is Samoa following the international guidelines from the ITU or the International Telecommunication Union. So right now, we have other speakers that will be addressing or talking about our digital transformation pathway. But there are other activities where the regulator comes in. For example, implementing the Universal Access Fund. Why is that done? Because this particular area has been in the Act since 2005. And the purpose of the fund is the government's way of intervening to make sure that everybody has access. So this fund will assist in making sure that the unserved and underserved areas of the country will have access, not just access, but quality of this access. So the way forward, in particular, for the Office of the Regulator is looking at the Act and reviewing the Act with the assistance of the Ministry of Information and Communication. We need to do this. We need to make sure that we are up to date with the Act so that we can be kept abreast of the emerging technologies. There's so much technologies emerging, and we need to make sure our legal framework is intact to make to follow through. Thank you very much. Next one, Robert. Or go one back, please. Okay. All right. So I just want to talk a little bit about the Office of the Regulator. So our main mandate is to implement the objectives of the Act, and that is Section 3. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that is there. And that is Section 3 of Telecommunication Act. The regulator also is responsible for implementing the objectives of the Electricity, Broadcasting, and Postal Act 2010. So go back once. Okay, so in the Act, I would say, and I believe that the shortest sentence is the most important one. And that's why I put it there. It's to protect the interests of the consumer. So the work of the regulator evolves or all work around protecting the interests or making sure that we address all the issues of the consumer or of the users. So this is the reason why when people complain, we take it very seriously, and the regulator already has a process of going through making sure that the complaints of the consumers are addressed in a very amicable manner. Okay, so the main function of the regulatory office, of the Office of the Regulator, is of course to provide all those regulatory services, not just for service providers, but to all the users. And at the same time, making sure that credible advice is given to our minister and our government. Next one, please. Okay, I don't have to go through all these points on the slide because you can read it, but I just want to point out key things. I've already spoke about the way we handle complaints. It's very, very important. So at the regulator office now, we now have staff who also look at Facebook, because I know in my culture, it's very similar to the culture in other Commonwealth countries. They never complain, but they moan, and then they put their complaints on the Facebook. So this is why it's very important to have somebody or some staff that their function or part of their function is to monitor the Facebook. And then we take those complaints as unique and official complaints. Then we contact, do the process as per usual. As I said, that this is the nature of some of our people, and it's the same as in Africa. It's the same as in Asia. It's the same in the Commonwealth, and I'd like to say the whole of Commonwealth. A lot of people do not complain, but they moan, and then they use other medias, as I mentioned before. So this is what we're doing, and it's important to share it so that other jurisdictions within the Commonwealth can also share the same experience that we have, and then perhaps adopt them. So then, of course, the monitoring, it's very well explained there what the process is. And competition, it's very important. Then, of course, type approving of digital equipment that are likely to be sold within the market in Samoa. And of course, I've already mentioned the others before. Next slide, please. Okay, that slide there is self-explanatory. Those are some of the components that we do look at, or the Office of the Regulator look at, and the work that we do, and that is providing licenses, reviewing license applications, and then offer them. And this is I'm talking about licenses in all the 4 sectors that we manage. Next, please. That's the map, and it's just highlighting that, yes, 3G, this is a map by GSMA. We have GSM, 3G, LTE, and 4G. I mean, LTE and 4G are used interchangeably. But of course, GSM, we still have 2G. And service providers now would like to do away with 2G, but our role is to make sure that whatever is proposed will have to benefit the consumer. Next one, please. Okay, challenges. I'm sure I don't need to go through this whole slide, but I mentioned before that digital divide is a global issue. It doesn't refer to one country or one region or types of regions. It's a global issue. And in 2020, 3.6 billion people remained unconnected. So then when it comes to Samoa and relate our unserved and underserved people or areas to this 3.6 billion, and then we can see that we're only a mere little fraction. But because we don't want anybody to be left behind, it is a big issue. Hence our digital transformation strategy or pathway. So these are some of the issues that we are looking at. Make sure that the services is available and make sure it's affordable and inclusive. That's a key word. That's a key word. We want to make sure everybody is included and everybody has access or the opportunity to access in good timing all the digital services that we are able to provide. Of course, need to be secure. It's very important and need to be relevant. Now, Samoa is moving forward, and I think we are now looking at the local content, although we are not quite there yet. But our digital transformation strategy, when we implement it, will be very useful to create our local content. Because right now, most of the content that we have are not originated from Samoa, and it's very important. And that is where we have to look at other issues as well that we need to address. For example, the Intellectual Property Act and all the other relevant acts, which the WIPO or the World Intellectual Property Organization is responsible for. So once we do all this, implement our digital transformation pathway, then we will have to look sideways to other issues that we need to incorporate into the into our pathway or our strategy. Okay, so the challenges, I must add, is common among the whole of the Pacific Island country. Because yesterday I was a panelist at the APT Policy and Regulatory Forum, and the session that I was a panelist on was the roundtable for regulators. And the challenges from all the panelists from the Pacific Island regulators are the same everywhere. It's common. Quality of service, wow. Okay, so the QoS, quality of service, is key to the digital transformation pathway. The reason why I'm saying it's key, because we can do all that we have to do to implement the digital transformation. But if people don't have access, or if people have access but cannot have, they don't have the speed, the relevant speed, then it's no point at all. And this is why quality of service is key. It's very, very important. And because we need to make sure that everyone will have the same quality of accessing their phone. I've also mentioned that it doesn't matter how many towers that are installed within a country, if those towers or if the services or equipment on it cannot provide the speed, the required speed, then it's no point at all. All right. And it's important to mention, for the quality of service, the key measure is the experience of the user. So we need to have a look at that, and that is what the Office of the Regulator works on. And when I say the quality of experience of the user, this is based on the complaints. We're trying to make sure trying to make sure that people are encouraged to complain, we set up a toll-free number. But in spite of doing that, some people still come in person when the complaint is very serious or very important to them. And when we have someone who wants to come and see us, we advise them to come in face to face and then officialize their complaint as per the process. So we don't need to go through this because I know we have a speaker who will cover this area. But I just want to highlight that these are the development partners of Samoa. And it's very important because so for the digital transformation to be successful, we not only need collaboration within Samoa, but also within the region. Yesterday, we were talking about the Pacific Islands to come together and work together so that we can share experiences and we can share what is working well in one country, and so that the others can use the same solutions to make sure that we all are on the same page. So the importance of the reason why I want to show this is because this collaboration, regional and international, helps Samoa with implementing its digital strategy in many ways, not only through funding components of the national projects, but also providing the opportunity for people to be trained, whether locally, online, or overseas, and the fellowships to also attend the meetings and conferences, because it's not just workshop and training that provides the capacity to our people. It's also by attending the meetings and listening, and then trained on writing papers, input papers from the country. And I know that this is one skill that we are having access to through our bilateral partners. Thank you. I don't need to say anything about this slide because everybody knows that. Okay. I've already spoke about this in the previous slide. So let me just see if there's something I haven't mentioned there. No, I have. I think I'm ahead of of the presentation. So it's very important. I'm talking about the first bullet point. I'm talking about working together as a region. My hope is every Pacific Island country is working on digital transformation right now. And I know Fiji had already established their how do they call it? It's a body for the digital transformation. That was done in 2019. And then all the other Pacific Island countries, we're all at the same level of development for digital transformation. Now, it will be really good when one day all the policies and strategies of the Pacific Island countries can be harmonized. In saying that, I know there was an ITU project that looked at that. It's for the Caribbean, and Madam Secretary General would know this very well. So in the Caribbean, they managed to harmonize quite a lot of policies so that everyone in the region are using the same policy, implementing the same strategy, and so forth. It's very important. Now, I've already spoken about the other issues there. Go back once, please. Yes, and the regional coordination in the Pacific is very important, and that's why I put the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat there. That's very high level, and that follows by the Council of Regional Organization, CROP. And under CROP, this is where SPC and all the other regional organization comes under. And that's the reason why I also mentioned harmonization on the top there, because as a region, we are not that, we have a lot of different organizations. And that's why I think it was back in 1998 or 99 that the Pacific Island Forum decided to establish this council that it's a high level one where all the regional organization sits, and then they focus on trying to see what is in common among all the Pacific Island countries that the regional organization can work with in organizing the donor partners and within the country, and try and bring it together. So as we all know, now some of the donor countries have funds put aside for the Pacific Island region, not just one country. And my experience working at the ITU tells me that it's much more, it's better that we go together, go as a group, as the region, donor partners, and some other bilateral partners that are not on my list, do look at it that way. The EU, they look at regions. They look at the Pacific Island and Caribbean. There's a group that's called APC, Africa, Caribbean, and the Pacific. And that is big enough for the European Union to consider funds for this group because it's huge. Yeah, I'm going back to the quality of service there, because without that quality of service, I'm saying there, then it will not, digital transformation will not be possible for the digital transformation to give benefit to everyone. Lastly, that is the way forward. One slide forward, please. Okay, and to conclude, that is what I'm saying there. Collaboration is key. And then we need technical support, which we do. And we need all these issues or this list that I'm saying here, but I know we have Madam CEO of the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, who will elaborate on some of these key concluded information that I've got on this slide. And with that, I thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, CTO. Thank you, Madam SG.